Union Pacific's Big Boy isn't simply the largest locomotive ever built. It set the benchmark for measuring all other locomotives. And yes, you'll find some that were longer, heavier, or more powerful, but no other single locomotive looms as large in size or stature than the famous Big Boys. Alco built 25 of these massive 4884 monsters for the Union Pacific between 1941 and 1944. Like most large steam locomotives, the intent in their construction was to move heavier trains without helpers up a mountain grade. Prior to Big Boy, many other classes of locomotives had been developed to do the same. But every time a larger locomotive arrived, the yardmasters made the trains longer and the helpers stayed. However, unlike most other large steam, the UP simply wasn't intent on moving the trains without help, but doing so at normal track speeds of 40 miles an hour or greater. And unlike before, when a Big Boy was assigned to a train, helpers were seldom needed, even with their delivery coinciding with the heaviest wartime freight traffic. Like any complex machine, the Big Boys had their own peculiarities and personalities, but were generally liked by the crews who ran and maintained them. Tests in 1943 showed the class every bit the equal of diesels in abilities over their territory, and the Big Boys ruled their Wyoming turf through most of the 1950s before the ultimate efficiencies of diesel power finally made their inevitable retirement possible. For the next 60 years, the memory of the Big Boys loomed nearly as large as the locomotives themselves. When Union Pacific selected the 4014 for a return to special service, new generations flocked from around the globe to marvel at this engineering masterpiece once again. It is no surprise, then, that it remains one of the most requested locomotives in the Lionel catalog. The first Lionel scale JLC Big Boy set a new standard for detail. In 2014, the first Vision Big Boy introduced multiple new special effects and set new records for sales. With the return of 4014 to service, an updated oil-fired version was released with equally great interest. Now in 2023, Lionel has done it again, making our biggest and best even better with our most feature-rich Vision Big Boy to date. Let's start with the smoke. The Big Boy features 4 smoke units providing stack, whistle, blowdown, and for the first time, safety valve smoke effects. The stack smoke chuffs in time with the articulated drift chuff feature, which moves the sound of the 2 driver pairs in and out of sync with each other. Whistle steam is matched with a selection of 5 different whistles you can choose. Safety valve steam will pop off automatically if the train is at rest long enough to build up appropriate pressure, and will turn off after the train gets moving. It can also be activated directly anytime you'd like. And the blowdown steam features jets of steam out both sides of the locomotive near the firebox to simulate the boiler cleansing blowdowns. Sounds are another hallmark of Vision models, and the first Vision Big Boy set the standard with its 3-speaker sound system. No Lionel locomotive has ever sounded better. We've retained those great sounds along with the 5 whistles and 5 bell pitches, and of course road number specific crew talk for a model that sounds as impressive as it looks. Speaking of sounds, you'll now hear your Big Boy work like never before with the addition of our force coupler feature. This innovation uses a pair of sensors on the locomotive's drawbar to measure changes in the drawbar pool. Like the real thing, as your model works harder, you'll hear the exhaust chuff deepen and see smoke output increase. Coasting downgrade, you'll get the opposite effect. And it all works in tune with the legacy control system so that even the locomotive's virtual fuel consumption will be impacted. It doesn't get any more real than this. Of course, speaking of fuel, the 2014 Vision Big Boy's most famous feature was the depleting coal load. As your train consumes fuel, you'll see the coal pile in the tender go down. The harder you work it, the faster the coal drops. Refill the coal and the tender loads return to normal as you hear the loading coal. Obviously, this feature is not available on the oil-fired 4014 variation. Last but not least, among new features for this year's Big Boy, we have the introduction of our new 4-digit addressing feature when used with our upcoming cab and base 3 control system. No more fussing over duplicate 2-digit numbers. You can assign your Big Boy's 4-digit cab number as your address and never have to think about what number you gave it again. Of course, you'll also get our simple-to-use Bluetooth control, and the locomotive will still run on your TMCC, Legacy, or even conventional layout. The Vision Big Boy has always been one of our most detailed models, and this new version will be no exception. Road number specific details include pilot aftercooler locations, 4019's unique smoke lifters, and of course 4014's current oil tender. For a complete list of all the model's standard features, road numbers, and paint schemes, check out Lionel.com or the 2023 Volume 1 catalog. Orders can be placed with your favorite Lionel dealer, and locomotives are expected to deliver late fall of 2023. So you've got plenty of time to get your railroad ready for the biggest and best beast on 3 rails.